Okay, Half-Life has a ton of weapons, but what if you just had to complete the game with one, the pistol? These are the rules of the challenge. Once I grab the pistol, I am not allowed to use any other weapons. If I do, then the challenge is over. Now that we're all clear, let's jump straight into... Yes, I'm skipping the first two chapters. What are you gonna do about it, bitch? Immediately after starting, we are faced with our first obstacle, this door right here. Since we don't have our pistol yet, the challenge technically hasn't started, so I can just grab this crowbar and proceed as usual. But right after this, we meet our first Barney. Barneys are a critical resource to this challenge because they can drop the pistol or ammo when killed. Cool! We have the pistol now, so the challenge begins. But our next biggest issue is the ammo. Pistol ammo is never usually an issue in a normal run, because you have access to so many different weapons. But in here, you'll have to be counting every bullet. Take entering a vent for example. With a crowbar, you can break a door pretty easily. But with a pistol, it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 whole bullets. That's like half a magazine. And you're better off ignoring boxes altogether. To save some ammo, I tried to avoid as many enemies as possible. And after making my way through, I hopped in an elevator to reach... Immediately after starting this chapter, I ran out of bullets trying to break this vent, but I knew there was a storage room with some ammo in, so I headed over there. I grabbed the stuff, break this vent, completed this extremely fucking difficult puzzle, and shut down this turret. Now this time I met another Barney, but because I wanted to be nice, I decided to spare his life and let him join my team. Then he got killed by a bunch of Vortigons. It was extremely sad to see, but hey, I at least have some more bullets now. Thank you, Barney. You will not be forgotten. I move into the freezer area, jump onto this ladder, and hop on this elevator to reach... My first instinct was to try and skip the whole chapter by doing this pretty popular glitch. But for some reason, for me it did not work. So I just gave up and did the whole thing normally. And in retrospect, it was probably for the best. I get away from this turret and accidentally blow myself up. Shortly after, I do the same for this Vortigon and meet my first soldier of the challenge. Soldiers are annoying because they will be everywhere and take a pretty long time to kill with a pistol. Like this one just did not want to die for some reason. And by this point, I basically ran out of ammo. So every time I encountered one, I just chose to run away instead. That is until I casually find 100 bullets laying on a box. Now this is much better. But then I find even more, and it started to feel like I had an infinite amount of ammo. I then go outside and casually run past every single soldier, cross some vents, which took a pretty tedious amount of time by the way, and head towards black. With the bullets I carried over from the previous chapter, this one was mostly a piece of cake. Nothing too eventful happened. I grabbed the cart, met the tentacle guy, and so on. I also accidentally blew this hound eye up. May he rest in peace. However, because this chapter was full of aliens, my stockpile of 250 ammo started dwindling fast, so I had to resort to alternative methods of getting bullets again. For the most part, everything was fine, but the sections where I had to turn on these machines in order to burn this guy alive took me an embarrassing amount of time, especially the generator. I just kept dying and dying and dying for very stupid reasons. Eventually, however, I did manage to burn the testicle and proceeded forward. I find the revolver, but let's be honest, the pistol is just better. Then I got into that pipe that everyone seems to die on for some reason. Like, just back out for a little bit. It's really not that hard. And after that, I move along onto... Power up. Yeah, I don't really like this chapter. Generally, I think it's pretty boring, and nothing of worth happened in this challenge. I just killed a bunch of soldiers, aliens, and eventually the Gargantua. Then I moved on to... The first thing I do is leave the cart, and nothing too interesting happened after that. I basically just killed everything that moved, but while doing so, a soldier accidentally blew his own teammate up, which was pretty funny. Then I encountered this section where there are 3 soldiers lined up next to each other, which was pretty hard. Everything I tried to do basically resulted in me getting blown up, but I eventually managed to pick them off one by one and finally come out victorious. After that, I got reunited with my cart and sped past a bunch of enemies before going outside. Cleared out a launch site, which took ever, bro. I had like 40 HP, but for some reason I always managed to die in like the weirdest way possible. Then I entered Wikipedia and launched a rocket rocket to space for some reason. But then I hopped into an upgraded card and sped towards...
Hey you, do you like this video?
Yes, I think it's awesome and really funny, just like
well then you should consider subscribing to the Residue YouTube channel. Here we have a couple of videos that will surely crack a smile on your face. Every video is different so you'll never know what to expect. Billy even makes games. Wow. How do I know you're not subscribed? Take a look at these numbers. That disgusts me to my core. So subscribe now to the Realist Billy YouTube channel and maybe you can become a real Billy yourself.
Honestly, I always liked the intro of Apprehension. Like, what the hell is this? Also, I forgot basically everything else about this chapter. So in the beginning, I was pretty confused on what I had to do, but I managed to caught on pretty... But I managed to caught on pretty quickly. While trying to open this door, I exploded for no reason, like in a modern SpongeBob episode. But then I met this guy, I don't know his name, and managed to slay the fish creature with just my pistol. That is now one of my greatest achievements. And hopped into this elevator.
I got a message for you. Make sure you don't...
I was honestly expecting for the assassins to be extremely difficult to beat, but they were actually way easier with the pistol. I created a separate file to see if any of these boxes contained pistol ammo, but in reality only one did, so that was all just a big waste of my time. So I went and turned this lever thing and entered this very not suspicious room.
I see it.
This was my reaction to playing this chapter.
Man, oh man, I cannot wait to beat this chapter. It will be so easy. And is that a crowbar? Oh, no.
Since the challenge only begins after I pick up a pistol, and according to the rules, grabbing any other weapon after that results in an automatic failure, unfortunately, being forced to use this crowbar to break this vent door in order to proceed with the chapter makes this challenge impossible. While disappointing, this outcome isn't really that surprising. I mean, just think about it! What am I supposed to do when I see an alien grunt? They're one of the toughest enemies to kill, even with all your other weapons at your disposal. And they're introduced right in the next chapter. By that point, the game fully expects you to use your other firearms, meaning it will become harder and harder to come by pistol ammo, especially in the later chapters. For the sake of my own curiosity, I tried to move forward to see how far I will end up, but I eventually had to stop in this section of service tension because I just couldn't beat it. Well, that was an experience. While we didn't complete the challenge, I hope you've enjoyed the journey as much as I did. And that's it for this video. Bye!
Well, this sucks.
You think?
I should have stopped for gas when I had the chance.
Oh, you should have. I literally told you like 5 times. But no, you just had to keep driving.
So this is my fault now.
Oh, 100%. Who else am I gonna blame? The sand.
You're the one who wanted to take this stupid trip.
And you're the one who didn't refuel the car.
Whatever, man.
Also, why aren't we moving at all?
I think I just got lazy editing this.
Really? Now that actually sucks.
Definitely. I'm pretty sure I didn't mean to go here. Time to try again.
Did you say something?
No, did you?
Nope.
Then who?